This is Average Joe PT, and we're going to talk about why you might be having headaches and where they might be located at. Today we're going to talk specifically about suboccipital headaches, the muscles right here along the base of the skull, those muscles right there that can give you headaches across the front of your head and across the back side. Now I'm also going to leave a link up here that talks about another type of issue might be coming from your levator scapula, and I want you to kind of look at that video to kind of give you some ideas whether you're getting your headaches from your suboccipital muscles or from that muscle group called the levator scapula. So stay tuned. Here we go. Now we're going to move in kind of close on you just to get a better idea what I'm talking about. So if we just represent this little blue rubber band, but there's muscles that run literally at the base of the skull, and then there's another muscle group that kind of runs to the side and to the other side and also to the bottom, and we call them your nodding muscles. That's what allows your head to go yes and no. All right, and so those muscles right there, as you can see, as well as there's some what we call some fascia that lines this base of the skull area, and they can give you headaches way up on either side of your head and feel like sometimes it's in your eye. So there's some certain treatment techniques that we'll go over real quickly, but I just want to give you an idea that from here to here, this rotational movement that you're getting at your head is about 50% of all the movement that you get for rotation in this entire neck. So 50% comes from this top. So yeah, if you're having pain when you rotate, yeah, 50% of your entire movement to either side comes from this one segment, and then the other segments in your neck make up the other 50%. So that's pretty significant when you're having suboccipital headaches. Why, when you look to either side or whether you nod, your pain's coming from that area. So just remember, 50% is coming from that one segment. That's some good info for you. Let's talk about one more important thing besides suboccipital muscle pain, and that's these red things. They're called your vertebral arteries, and they give you blood flow to the brain. And they're very superficial along the base of the skull. They run all the way down on either side of the vertebrae in these thing called foramen. And they give good blood flow up and down naturally, but if you start compressing these areas, you might start getting pain just because of that. Now obviously, rotational movement is an issue if you get manipulation. So when you get older, these arteries get compromised, you can have a serious problem called death. And so that's the biggest thing when you do any treatments of compression or anything like that at home, that you're not pushing too hard just because you got those superficial vertebral arteries right there. So that's tip number 2. Let's talk about treatment. I'm just going to give you a few tips. Tip number 1. When you're doing any treatment, you're going to be lying down with your knees bent up. Some people, what they'll do is they'll take a towel and put it at the base of their skull, essentially at the base here. Let me just tilt it up for you. So they'll put something literally at the base of the skull, usually a towel roll. They might even do a dowel and just have you kind of put some gentle compression on that area. Like I said before, just be mindful not to put too much compression because of that tissue as well as the vertebral arteries there. You might hold that position for a good 10-15 seconds and relax. That's tip number 1. That's basically just a deep tissue compression to those muscle groups by using a dowel, like I said, or a towel. Number 2, if you're getting a lot of pain along the head, the best thing you can do is probably to ice it for, like I always say, 15-20 minutes. Just don't burn yourself 3 or 4 times a day until your symptoms reduce and they're not referring across your head no more and they're just staying in the back. And then you can start heating after that. That's treatment number 2. Treatment number 3 is called chin tucks. Now, what you're basically doing is you're looking straight ahead without turning your head down and just kind of pulling back. And so that pulling back motion, which looks kind of weird, essentially starts to stretch this area out, those suboccipital muscles. And so you got to be mindful just to go nice and easy. If you go too hard, too fast, you're going to just flare those things up. They're very tiny, and next thing you know, you're going to stop doing that because that hurts. Now, you can do that lying down or in sitting. Some people will do it in sitting. It really doesn't matter as long as your back is supported. I use magic towel roll. You could do that. If you want me to show you a little bit more on that type of treatment, leave a comment down below and I'll throw that into the next video. And so that's the main concerns for suboccipital, the headaches and where they're coming from, why you're having them, and some treatments that you can simply do at home. So that's the basics of suboccipital headaches. Leave comments down below. Subscribe. I'll leave a little input up there. Have you either look at the postural one. That's a nice video to talk about and to look at. After you leave this video, the postural one, neck pain, and some stretches that you can do. I'll leave the links out for those. And until next time, I want you to look up and keep smiling.